So my name is Heather Helfrich. In 2012, I was diagnosed with lupus. I mean, it started out so small. It was right after my birthday, July 4th, and my dad wanted to take me camping. And I had gotten sunburned a couple of times, and it took me a while longer to recover than it normally does. And so I thought it was a great idea, and I loved camping. So I was like, yeah, let's go. And me and my cousin thought it was a good idea, to go kayaking out into the lake for a good 4 hours without sunscreen. And started off great and everything, and then you start getting really tired, so it took longer to get back, and then it was really sunny and hot and no sunscreen, like I said. So I just remember paddling back and feeling really, really exhausted and just tired and burnt. And so when I got back, I started feeling really, really sick. I drank some water, and I just didn't feel like myself. So, we were going to stay maybe another night, and then I said, no, I can't do it. I have to go. I don't feel good. So we packed up our stuff and, thought we'd cut the trip a little short and, just stay 2 nights, and that'd be good. So we're on our way back, and I just don't feel good, and I can tell something's not right, like I'm coming down with something, or like I just feel sick, or like whatever. And I remember getting back, and I knew something was going to go bad, because I didn't want to go anywhere. I was laying down on the couch 24/7. I stopped eating, I stopped drinking, I was super dehydrated, but almost like felt sick every time I tried to drink anything. Same with eating. I was not really hungry, but usually I can like force myself to eat, like when I have the flu or something, and I just couldn't. And then like probably about a month later, we had a family beach trip, kind of like a reunion thing, and so I remember going there and just literally laying in the hotel room, just feeling sick, and I had a lot of swelling in my feet and my stomach, and people thought I was like pregnant or something, and I knew 100% sure that I definitely wasn't, so that wasn't it. And so when we got back, we thought it'd be a good idea to go into the doctor and see what was going on, because I also started having migraines like at least once a week, and mine were very, very severe. So I would get like a little basically spot in my eye where it was a blind spot, and it would be not in a normal blind spot area. It'd be like straight in front of me, and so if I was trying to read a word, the first letter wouldn't be there. I couldn't see it. And so we knew something was wrong when this was happening, and migraines are like abnormal behavior in the brain, so we thought it was a good idea to check them out. And they run in our family, but it was too frequent to be normal. So went to the doctor, and they were like, well, you're kind of showing the signs of lupus. You have like one less symptom than usual, but we're gonna have you on watch. So then by the time I went into my second appointment, I had definitely all of them. So they diagnosed me right there. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to start you in with treatments, chemotherapy, all this crap. And I've always been really healthy and athletic, so it hit me so hard. But I couldn't cry about it. Like, there was nothing for me to cry about, so I just kind of called my aunt, and we were really close at the time, and I told her, I have this, and she felt really bad, and for some reason I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'm Heather, so I'll get over it. Like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be like a cold, basically. Had no idea what I was in for. And then, we, fast forward a couple months, which is funny because I don't even remember this. Apparently we were going in to my first, day treatment, which was chemotherapy. Which I guess they use that sometimes for lupus to cure it or keep it under control or whatever. And I collapsed and wasn't able to talk or whatever. So my dad picked me up and put me in the car, and I just remember going in and out of it on the way to the hospital and swearing because I couldn't control my mouth. Basically, my connection from my brain to my mouth wasn't working. My filter was gone. Saw a lot of bright lights along the way. I remember one part, and it was just a stop sign. I remember stopping it and kind of going out. I don't remember getting to the hospital. I don't remember anything like that. And actually, forgot about this. Before that, I was actually in the hospital for, I think, a week. And because I stopped breathing and I was gasping for air and claimed I saw angels. And I remember seeing them just watching me. And so my mom definitely thought that was a good sign that I should probably go to the hospital. So we went there and I stayed there for a week. And then they basically gave me a bunch of medications. We're like, okay, we won't do any treatments. We just gave you some fluids. Here's your medications. And I went from 0 medications to 20. So that kind of took over my life for a while. And then they started saying, okay, well, instead of all the medications, let's, do chemotherapy. And that's how that whole thing happened. I collapsed before I got to my first one. So I was readmitted. The hospital was the worst thing I've ever gone through. It was hell for me. Literally hell for me. Just the first week, it was really nice. Okay, there's a TV here, my family's visiting, it's all good. And I don't really mind getting my blood drawn, so it wasn't a big deal, blah blah blah. And just didn't really faze me. So I just didn't expect to be there that long. And it got to be close to a month of there, and I was basically going insane. If you're stuck in a room, you haven't felt outside. I think I went outside. I think they only let me go outside twice. I don't know. I went once with my older brother, and then I remember walking around with my dad outside, and actually, no, 3 times. I remember my mom and I going through the hospital garden, which was super fun because I was freaking insane by then, highly medicated. Just I remember thinking that the other people walking around in the garden were people I knew from my past, dying. I thought I saw my little brother, and I was just basically hallucinating and drugged up out of my mind. So yeah. And I don't know, I can't explain how awful it is to be in there that long. It's kind of, I don't like to compare it to prison or anything, but I was to the point where I wanted to do a little escape plan because the people weren't that nice. I was on a restricted diet, so basically I would order tacos or something, and then they would bring me basically the filling of tacos, the beans and the rice and no tortilla, and just be all right, there's your meal for the night. And thanks, that's great. And they also had me on a liquid restriction, so I could only have 3 drinks a day, 1 with each meal, and then a little bit of water. So I was starving all the time. They would wake me up at every 3 hours just to like take my blood and like do all these tests and stuff like that. So like I was literally going insane because I wasn't getting sleep either. Go figure. Hospital and they don't let you sleep. But the doctors there, like they had no idea what they were doing either. Like they would ask me, they're like, oh, so what medications do we give you? And it's like, I don't know, I'm delusional, so I don't know. They just didn't take care of like what they needed to take care of. And not to say there weren't great people, there were, but there was also just like freaking awful people too that shouldn't be working there. So fast forward, got out on a Sunday and I went home, and I remember it was super sunny and it was like the craziest thing to be in sunshine. It was like insane. It felt so good and weird and so hot outside, and it was awesome. And then I got in the car, and driving in a car like with my mom, like her driving was like the craziest thing ever. It felt so weird to be in like a moving vehicle, because like honestly I hadn't walked around. Like I was in a bed practically the whole time, and it was just weird. It felt weird. So I remember getting home for the second time, and it was so good to see my family, but I knew it wasn't, like, I wasn't myself still. And so basically as time went on, I was still on all these medications. I was on prednisone, which is a type of steroid that my body, I found out, does not react to very well, and we didn't find that out until I was off of it. But it made me freaking crazy. Like, I gained 20 pounds, I think. But fast. Like, really, really fast in my stomach. So it looked like I was just, like, pregnant really fast all of a sudden. And people would stop me in a restaurant if I, like, went out with my family and be like, oh, how far along are you? And, like, I was emotionally, like, unstable because of all the medication. I would be like, I'm not pregnant. And they'd be like, oh, okay. So that was fun. I feel like a lot of people, you know, that know about these things don't think about those things. How hard all the other things are. Like, it was so hard for me just to go in public. Like, I thought everyone would stare at me and, like, call me ugly because I had acne, like, here and here and here, like, around my nose and, like, on my forehead, I think. Yeah, like, all over my forehead. And I never had acne, really. Like, maybe one there and there. Like, I don't know. But, and I was really big, and I'm a twig, so it was really weird. And then my feet were swollen all the time, so I had to wear, like, really bulky shoes, which was, it got old really fast. Like, it sounds funny, but it got so old. Wearing, like, these big bulky boots and, like, tennis shoes, like, that I had to, like, lace way wide. Just things you don't think about, how hard it is to function on that many medications. It made me have so much more sympathy for, like, elderly people and people with other problems, just like illnesses. Like, I deeply, deeply feel for those people because you don't know what kind of stuff they go through on a daily basis. I mean, you get up in the morning and, I mean, most people's first thought is like, oh, I wonder if it's sunny out, or what do I have to do today, or something. And my thought was like, oh, I have to go take medication. This is going to be just like yesterday, basically a day filled of laying on the couch and being looked at like a victim and having your mom look at you like, I don't know, she was like stone-faced, like there was nothing there, like, because she had to be like that, you know, she had to be tough, and she's this really big sweetheart, and so it was weird to see even that, and then have your dad look at you like you're a beaten dog. Like, it's freaking awful. Like, I can't even describe how horrible it was. It was really bad. And not having your brothers, like, be able to, like, I don't know, I have 2 brothers, no sisters, so we rough house, whatever you want to call it, and having, you know, we can't even mess around like that, like like, our conversations were just like, oh, how do you feel today? And that, just to let you guys know, like, if someone's sick, like, some people may really, like, appreciate, like, oh, you look so good today, or, like, oh, how are you feeling? But at least for me, like, I was 17 at the time. You don't want to feel like a patient 24/7. Like, you want to feel like a real normal person that, I don't know, basically, I didn't go anywhere. All of my friends didn't talk to me. They basically, I don't know, for a while I didn't want them to see me because it's really embarrassing, like, how you look. But even when I did, like, I just don't see, personally for me, and I guess I wouldn't have known if this wouldn't have happened to me, but if someone's sick, like, a text can mean so much. Just like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, hey, like, maybe we can, like, do this. And, like, I honestly remember, like, 2 of my guy friends, like, did that twice. Like, I mean, they did it more than anyone else. They were just like, hey, we'll have a movie night sometime. I'll bring you some snacks. And they would just stop by and say hi to my family. And that was probably the nicest thing anyone did for me at that time. Because I actually had it was my senior year of high school. Go figure, the best time ever for that to happen. It's supposed to be the best year. It definitely wasn't. So yeah, I actually had a homeschool for a whole year. Or no, for half a year. I'm sorry, half a year. But yeah, a half a year at home, and your friends don't talk to you really. Like, you'll get the sympathy, like, or like the empathy text, like, oh, how are you feeling? And then, like, even like people that I thought were like my really, really good friend, like, they just kind of left and, like, abandoned me. And, like, I don't expect much, but, like, I would like to think that if it's the other way around, like, it would have been so different. I know it would have. I mean, you really, when people say, you find out who your friends are when things get tough, like, they aren't kidding. You do, and it's ugly. It's ugly how selfish people are, honestly. But you also find out the really sweet people that you didn't expect. People you didn't think cared at all, or, like, even knew you. Like, there are a lot of good people out there and stuff like that. And the thing is, you just find out the selfish people and the really sweet people, the genuine people, I guess. And it's just kind of overwhelming because you find out within a month, honestly. Like, all these people you talk to every day, you don't talk to. And when you do, it's like, oh, are you better? Oh, all right. Okay. Sorry. It's heartbreaking, honestly. Like, it was a lot to take all at once. Like, one, like, I mean, doctors didn't know if I was gonna even, like, make it, and I just get, like, this, like, I don't know. Anyways, it just wasn't pleasant. I mean, on top of the whole sick thing, you're dealing with massive amounts of other things that don't, that have to do with it, but not really. So, you go through a lot of crap, basically. And like I said before all of this, like, I was the happiest girl in the world. Like, I was so happy, and I am so, so blessed, like, that I'm still here. And I have a lot of great people in my life now, and I just realized that life is way too short to have people that don't really care. So letting all those people go was no problem. It made me stronger. All of this made me a lot stronger. So basically, moving on. Let's see. After that, I'm trying to think. I went to, like, a chemo treatment basically once a week, or, like, once every 2 weeks if it was, like, a holiday or something. That was a big treat. I was still on a restriction. Pretty alone. Basically just talk to my family all the time, which really drives you insane. Trust me. Go crazy. And, sorry, I'm just getting hurt my back. Oh, okay. and I had a tutor for school and stuff, and you feel so different from everyone else. And I mean, I had a lot of friends, and then I went from that to like nobody. Like I was so alone. I don't know, you go from surrounded by so many people to no one's there, no one cares, like and while I was sick, like I couldn't talk like this. Like my brain, it's like I could think all these things, but I couldn't say it. And so I was like, I don't know, in a sense, like trapped in my own body, and I hated myself so much because my looks got to me, and I thought I was like disgusting, like repulsive, disgusting. I couldn't do anything, I couldn't go anywhere, so I was just kind of stuck. And I remember this thought in my head, just thinking, like, because the whole day I'd just be sitting, laying down, sitting, eating, and watching TV. That was like my life for 2 years, no joke. Like a year, like a full year for sure, and then like part of another year. Like that was my life. Like that's all I knew for a year and a half. Just like laying down and watching TV, and you memorize all the shows on at whatever time. Like I could have probably told you like whatever was on at every single hour. And I just remember waking up and like not wanting to get out of bed, because what was the point? Like what was I going to do that day that was so spectacular, that was worth getting up for? There was nothing for me there. There was no reason for me to get up every morning, and that got to me. So it got to the point where, like, in my head, I'm like, there is literally, honest to God, no point. Like, what is the point? So I remember thinking the best way was basically to take myself out of the equation and give up basically on getting better. I didn't think it would ever happen. I mean, I was on 20 medications. I had so many medications that I literally had to stop going to school because that would have taken up too much time. And I wouldn't have time to take all my medications because you had to space them out and work them all out. And some of them you couldn't take with food. Some of them you had to take, like on an empty stomach, and then you had to wait an hour. That was the worst one. I had to take that twice a day. So you have to really, there's some that don't work together. There was a lot to think about, and thank God I had my mom, because she basically did everything for me, but, like, I don't even know. So, basically I got to the point where I was like, alright, like, I'm basically gonna drown myself, because that's all I really know how to do with my brain, like, with my, like, chemo, drug brain. So I, like, filled up the bathtub, locked the door, turned off all the lights, and basically, like, just, like, laid underwater, and I don't know for how long, and then I just kept on thinking, if my brothers are the one to find me, that will kill them too. And I literally couldn't bear the thought of doing that to them. I would never want to hurt them like that, and I couldn't think about doing that to them, so I basically just, like, right as, like, I was, like, blowing out my breaths and, like, ready to, like, go, I was like, okay, I, like, literally can't do this, like, I can't do this to them. If they're the ones that come home first, or this or that, I will not forgive myself. So, I got out of the water, and I didn't tell anyone about that until like a year ago. And yeah, I'm 20 now, so but almost 20, a month from now, sorry. But yeah, I didn't tell them till, like, I don't know, like a year ago about. And yeah, so you really, well, I did, at least. I hit rock bottom, like, completely. I hated myself. I hated every single day. I could not stand getting out of bed. I was so depressed beyond belief, and that's something else I never dealt with. Like, I was always very happy, like I said. Like, I was ridiculously depressed, and I just remember, like I go to church, and when I'd go there, like, people just look at you like, oh, that's so sad. Like, you look like, they just look at you like a dead or beaten down dog. Like, I don't know. I hate that look in people's eyes where they're like, that they feel so sorry for you. Like I understand empathy, but it makes you feel so crappy. And so, yeah, and so we, kept going to chemo treatments, and let me tell you, if you're like 17, 18, and you're like trying to decide whether you want to do chemo treatment in the adult section or the kids section, like, I am highly, highly recommended that you do it in the adult section, because you have to hear 2-year-olds like screaming at the top of their lungs, like, getting their chemo treatments done. And that, like, literally gave me like temporary PTSD for a while. I would wake up like bawling my eyes out, because you hear these 2-year-olds just crying for their mom, and just screaming that it hurts. And I love kids. Like, I adore kids. I can't wait to be a mom someday, and to hear them scream, and you are hooked up to the machine yourself, and you can't help them, and you have kids all over in every single room screaming and crying and like saying it hurts so bad, and it is horrible. It is awful, awful, awful. It is traumatizing to hear that. It's something I would not wish upon my worst enemy. It is horrible. So yeah. So those were horrible, because you'd have to get up. I had to get up super early. I'd get up at like freaking, I don't even know, like 7:30? No, like 8 or 8:30. And I'd throw on some sweats, like, do whatever with my hair. Like, most of the time I wouldn't even shower, and just, like, have my mom drive me to chemo treatments, and then you just sit there and, like, I was there for, like, 8 hours sometimes. Just laying in a bed, like, having chemo treatments done. It was horrible. Freaking hell. Like, the worst thing ever. And and my veins like to hide, so it didn't make it easy when, like, they couldn't even, like, get it hooked up. So I'd be set back, like, an hour because they couldn't hook up an IV. It's just, like, one thing after another, so. But all the nurses there were great. They were super sweet and kind, and I don't envy their jobs. I don't envy what they do, because that would be so hard doing that to a child, or, I mean, even a 17-year-old. It'd be awful to have to do that and watch them, and some of them don't, a lot of them don't make it, because a lot of them here in with the cancer and lupus, and there might be, like, a couple other things that they treat it with those type of treatments for. But, yeah, so basically the days that I could eat whatever I want were, like, holidays, and stuff like that. Anyways, sorry, I'm, like, really dragging you on here, but, so I remember that day where they called and they're like, you don't need chemo treatments anymore, you're done. And that was honestly, like, one of the best days of my life. Like, knowing that I didn't have to go back and hear all that crap and, like, go through all of that was, like, the best thing. Like, at the time, it was the best thing that had happened to me in, like, a year. And by then, like, my hair was, like, normal. But then after I stopped it, like, I would get into the shower, and this is, like, traumatizing. I would, like be shampooing my hair, and I would just, like, pull, and, like, I'd pull, like, a clump of hair out. That was so traumatizing to me, because you almost don't want to shower, because, like, every time you, like, pull out handfuls of hair, and it's horrible. And I actually never shaved my head, because it was, like, since I didn't have as many as, like, cancer patients, like, I didn't lose as much, but it did look very odd, because, like, I would, like, lose it, like, so my hair was just, like, super thin. So basically all I had was, like, this cane in the back, and then, like, a couple, like, wisps of it. So it'd be like that was my full head of hair right there. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but, like, I had really thick hair, but it was, like, half of it was, like, gone. So it looked like I had, like, the mullet right here, but, like, kind of shaved-ish hair up here. So that was a challenge too, like, figuring out, like, how to do your hair And my doctors like said like, oh, do you want a wig? And like I didn't want that because like it'd make me feel like I was more of a patient basically, and I was like kind of in denial. Like I didn't want to feel like one. I knew I was one, but I didn't want to feel like it. So like I would just take up the hair I did and like put it in like a really tiny bun or like ponytail. And my ponytail, no joke, would be like this. That was like my ponytail. It was really depressing. But yeah. So yeah, now 2 years later, I've had a couple haircuts, but that's kind of, it's wavy right now, so it's not as long, but that's where I'm at now. Super happy about that because not having hair is traumatizing. And so yeah, and then I slowly started coming down on medications. Got off all the restrictions, so now I can eat whatever I want. And which, by the way, sodium restrictions and like liquid restrictions are the worst. Like you can't drink when you're thirsty. You get dehydrated all the time. You're like cotton mouth. And then sodium, because basically everything you eat, I found out, has sodium. Like even things you wouldn't really think about. Like I love Gatorade. Oh, I'm a big Gatorade fan. And that has a lot of sodium in it, so I was just like, crap. Okay, whatever. Even juices have a lot of sodium sometimes. So like I don't know. And I also had like a calcium one, so I would have like 1 glass of milk a day, maybe 2 if I was lucky. Yeah, and like I had to completely cut out all like microwavable stuff pretty much. Like it was really sad because like one of my favorite snacks were like the like pizza roll things, and my mom would be like, oh, you can have some, and she'd like microwave me like 4, and I'd be like starving and be like, oh, thanks, you know. And it because of like sodium. So yeah, that was a struggle doing the whole diet thing, because since I was skinny before and like healthy, like very athletic, I played soccer throughout my high school career basically, except for senior year, of course, the best one. But so I was not used to diets whatsoever. Like that was something completely new that I had to get used to. But yeah, so slowly started cutting off medications. I actually went back to school the second semester. Still like really big and like acne everywhere, and like still looked very sick. People didn't even recognize me, and like people can be very cruel too. So yeah, bad experience going back to school, but I did it. I graduated on time somehow with good grades. I don't even know how. I remember doing some homework and day treatments, like it was bad. And yeah, I graduated. I had lost all the weight basically by then, so it took like a year to a year and a half to like lose all that weight. And I became underweight, so they like put me on like all this like crazy foods. Like they literally wanted me to have a milkshake a day. And it did not happen. I was not going to do that. And like try to put me on all these like shakes and stuff, and I did not do that. Like you just weren't hungry, because like I still couldn't really do physical activity. Like I would go on walks, and like I couldn't run because like my legs, because of the steroids, felt really heavy. Like I can't even explain it. It's like if someone was on your back. Like if you were giving someone a piggyback ride, and then I remember my parents being like, well, why can't you just like do this? Or like, why can't you jump? Why can't you run? Like, because it feels like there's someone on my back, like literally all the time. It was really weird. It was like resistance. Like it was bad. It felt like there was a whole person on me. And I wish I could have just told them that, because they'd probably understand my feeling. But like I said, I couldn't really speak properly. Whatever. I don't know. So yeah. And then, so yeah, after I lost the weight, it still felt heavy, which was very odd, because I thought it was like my stomach weight and like leg swelling and all that. But now I can, really like run and everything. And I was like 120 to 130 pounds, and now I'm down to 100. So I lost a lot of weight, and I'm skinny mini again. And I can eat whatever I want, and I'm down to 2 medications now. Yeah, just 2, and it's kind of crazy. because I literally, like, did not think I'd ever get this far. And I really didn't. Like, I had no idea that I would ever be able to get this far. Yeah. I don't know. I guess what I would just kind of wanted to tell everyone is that, like, I can't promise everyone will make it like this, like for really severe ones. I mean, they said I had the severest case of it, but I know that it doesn't work out this smooth every time. I saw it enough where I literally didn't think it was going to be possible, but there are things that help me, and I can't imagine if you don't have a good family, like, what it would be like. You'd feel even more alone than I did, and I mean, family helps a lot. God helped me more than anything. Going to church every Sunday, and even though it's horrible to see people, and people are cruel even there, and, like, just look at you, like, weird, and that's horrible, but the actual being there, hearing him, I mean, when worst came to worst, I felt like I was walking with God for 2 years, just, like, right beside me, and that part was really good. So, any of you going through anything similar to this, that's kind of key, really. That not giving up. I mean, it's okay to give up sometimes. I remember, I think I cried twice in the whole thing. And one was because I felt so overwhelmed with taking that many medications. I mean, I remember, like, laying in bed and my parents were, like, right by me, and I was just bawling because I didn't want to take all of them. It made me feel so sick. Sometimes I'd puke all the time. But you have to keep taking them, and you hate it because you're so cloudy in your head. Like, you can't answer questions. I couldn't answer 2 questions. If someone's like, oh, are you hungry? I'd be like, I don't know if I am. Like, I would get really anxious and, like, overwhelmed with just that. So, if you can help it, like, know that it will get better. No matter where you are, it gets better. You really have to stick with it. You can't give up. You really can't give up, because when you do, you let it win. And right now, I'm in the end. I have 1 more week left. I'm in the 2nd year of college. I have a job. I have a boyfriend. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, you get there. If you keep going, you get there. You get where you want to be. Like I said, I know not all cases are like mine, but it's so much better. And if I would have killed myself, or, just stopped trying, I don't think I'd be where I am. And if I actually would have killed myself, obviously I wouldn't be. But, I would have missed out on a lot. I've gotten to see, like, my cousins grow up more, and I would have missed out on a lot if I wouldn't have done anything. A lot. So, you really, really, once you get to this point, I appreciate every single day. There's not a day that I don't smile. I keep pushing myself to get better than where I'm at. I mean, just going to college isn't good enough. Like this term, I wanted all A's and B's. Right now, I'm at all A's and B's, and I just have finals left. So, like, you set higher goals for yourself every time you get to your goal that you get. Like, mine was to come down on medications. Well, once I did that, then I was like, okay, now I want to lose weight. Once I lost weight, okay, I want to go to college this year. I don't care what the doctors are telling me that they're saying I shouldn't go to school this year. I'm going. I applied. I got a scholarship. Like, I'm not saying it works out smoothly. There was horrible days. There's still horrible days, but it's under control, and they're saying that it was drug-induced by a migraine medication. So mine actually may be curable eventually. But even if it's not, like, there's so much that you can still do. If lupus, whatever you have, like, I know that you can only control so much, but, like, what you can control. Don't let it mess with you to the point where you're done, you know, because there's nothing you can't do. Like, you can still do whatever you want. Like, I remember thinking, like, I'm never gonna experience, like, being in love. Like, I'll never experience, like, you know, really having that love, really getting married, like, having kids, like, all the things I always wanted to do, you know, have a job, because I never even really had a real job before that, so I thought there was a lot I was missing out on, and now I know I'm gonna do all those things. Like, I'm going to have a perfectly normal life, because it's better now. There's no reason I can't. So, like I said, like, you can really get through anything, and just never stop trying, and keep going even when it feels like there's nothing left for you and you feel like it is the darkest day of your life and there's no reason for you to get out of bed. Do it anyways. Get out of bed, and eventually it will get better no matter what. It will get better. Things change. New medications are found. There was a new medication, I tried it, and like really fixed me, so that was awesome. But I just really felt the calling, the need to really share this with everyone and just kind of, I don't know, get it out there. And like for me too, like it helps me to heal, to just, I don't know, just spread it, I guess, instead of hiding it, just making people aware that you aren't alone. There's a lot of people like it, like us, that are going through really hard times, and I'm not just saying it's with like illness, it's like with a lot of things. So just keep going.